Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I'm just going to do and record what I do all pretty much every day. This is what I've been doing. Dear reader, no, reading this and marking it up and active reading. Then practicing my writing, and I'm gonna show how I do it in this video. So, the first act of this sales letter, and I learned this again from Kyle Milligan. Pretty much everything I know is because of him and his book and his videos. So yeah, the first thing in the first act of the sales letter, it it'd be cool if we check all of these elements. We make we make a pattern interrupt, establish credibility, it is a catalyst mechanism, trigger BS by making our promise, showing demo proof, and using fascinations and open loops. Yeah, let's read. Dear reader, in regular places, let's read without my dear reader. In regular places all over America, the lights are going out. No, I don't mean the street lights or any other kind of electrical gizmo. I'm talking about a vastly more important kind of light, the kind that comes from within. I'm talking about how all over the country, Americans are losing hope in our most basic social agreement. I've never seen this discussed in any other publication or financial research paper, but it's this change that worries me most about our country today. And I know if you think about it and look closely at what's happening, you'll agree. This kind of light is developed from living with a purpose, learning how hard work leads to success, blah blah blah, and from knowing that success, at least on some level, is possible for everyone in America. Blah, blah. And this light, which should be inside us all, is disappearing across America. It's been replaced with a kind of animosity we haven't seen in our country in almost 100 years. I'm sure you've noticed all the angry political rhetoric. Well, what's happening here? First, we start with the headline, which I analyzed. I think I uploaded a video analyzing it, and this is how it would lead. Well, this is the first part is a pattern interrupt in itself because what's what lies, right? This is a pattern interrupt and say payoffs are things that you say something, you tell details about something, but they don't really mean anything. And this is an example of it. That in regular places all over America, the lights are going out. Now you think, what? What lights? No, I don't mean the street lights or any other kind of electrical gizmo. This is a pattern interrupt, and you're guiding the attention to an object of interest. You're like, what? What's happening? What are these lights? I'm talking about a vastly more important kind of light. Now you're teasing, and the reader is asking himself, what's happening? What's this light? Why is it important? I'm talking about the light comes from within. I'm talking about how, all over the country, Americans are losing hope in our most basic social agreements. Now we're stealing a question in our reader. What's happening, right? These are payoffs, fascinations, and we're teasing the catalyst. The catalyst is the event that's happening. There's something happening. What's happening? The reader must ask. I've never seen this discussed in any other publication or financial research paper, but it's this change that worries me most about our country today. So why is it unique? We already answered it here. This is unique because I haven't seen this in any other publication, right? So there's no other financial research paper that's talking about this. No one's talking about this. This is unique and urgent. This is what we're saying to the reader. But is this change that worries me most about our country today? This supposedly is expanding upon the headline. Let's see. Well, there's a once in a generation wealth shift. So we're expanding upon that. And I know if you think about it and look closely at what's happening, you'll agree. This is a fascination. The reader's asking, really, what's happening? We're instilling that question. So, what we first did here is make a pattern interrupt and guide the attention to an object of interest and told the reader why is it unique and urgent. Now he's asking himself what's happening, and now we're not gonna tell him, right? We're gonna tease him. We're not gonna tell him. What we're gonna do is expand on the pattern interrupt or the object of interest, right? There's something happening here. Now we're gonna expand upon that. This kind of light is developed from living with a purpose, learning how hard work leads to success, blah blah blah. These are payoffs. We're expanding on that. And then we agitate on the implications of the object and catalyst, right? We agitate the reader about the implications of that object and or catalyst. This light, which should be inside us all, is disappearing across America. Maybe you, reader. It's being replaced with a kind of animosity we haven't seen in our country in almost 100 years. This is urgent. So pay attention, right? This is like a pattern interrupt because, yeah. And here starts the demo proof. You show something, you demonstrate results or that this is real, but you don't tell what's happening, or you show unquestionable proof without revealing everything. I'm sure you've noticed all the angry political rhetoric, which includes socialism soaring popularity and one crackpot scheme after another to take money from others, like direct payments from the government to all citizens, universal universal basic income, blah 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 blah. This is proof, right? The reader is telling, "Whoa, this is happening. This is really happening because this is real, and it's proof, right? It's proof." But you don't really know what's happening. You just know that this is real, but you don't know what's happening in reality. Here, he doesn't explain what's this thing and what the lights are going out mean? He just says things that are happening that are related and are consequences of uh, this catalyst, but he's not telling you what's the catalyst. He's just telling you, well, this happened and this happened and this happened, right? Which is true. These ideas are the result of the lights going out all around the country. And there's a reason it's happening, which very few understand. There's a reason so many Americans are losing hope, losing their sense of independence and their dignity. There's a reason so many people are turning to the failed plans of socialism. It's an open loop. There's a reason, right? Oh, there's a reason. That's an open loop because the reader's okay. Are you gonna tell me the reason and tell me what's happening? So that's an open loop. That's a fascination. It's an indirect bribe. Like I'm gonna tell you, but you're not telling it. You're not telling him that you're gonna tell him. You're just insinuating that there's a reason, and maybe the reader might assume that you're gonna tell him, which of course you're going to do in the offer section or maybe halfway through in the sales letter. But in the lead, you're not gonna tell him. The lead is just for teasing and hyping, building hype, or fear in this case. And here he is something I wrote. Tell him, tell what you'll tell him, then tell him again, and tell him what you told him, right? There's a reason it's happening which very few understand. There's a reason so many Americans are losing hope, losing their sense of independence and dignity. But, right? He's repeating it. This is the final bribe of the lead. Then, that's it. Fourth part of this lead, the final bribe. There's a reason, right? There's a reason so many people are turning to the failed plans of socialism. It's because most Americans are being left behind in a way we've never ever seen before. Why is it unique? We haven't seen this before. And this is the golden thread, right? You're gonna tease that, and we're expanding upon the headline. Most Americans are being left behind. We're expanding upon the headline because this is the headline, right? Most Americans are being left behind in a way we've never ever seen before. The gap between the rich and the poor has always existed, but never ever on this level, and never with this speed. This is a comment I did. He's not directly saying that the gap is growing. He just said the gap between the rich and the poor has always existed. But yeah, and did you notice this? There's a reason it's happening, which very few understand. And maybe you think that he's gonna tell you right off the bat, but he says the reason is because most Americans are being left behind, and that doesn't mean you're teasing again. You're teasing the catalyst. You're not telling it. You're just teasing. Every day, thousands and thousands of Americans are ascending into an entire new level of wealth, something even beyond what millionaires could afford a decade ago. And instead of plateauing, these changes are continuing to power this new class higher, turning millionaires into billionaires. I know because I'm one of them. That's bad and interrupt too. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. On and on it goes for the few who understand what's happening. But what about everyone else? Well, that's why I've produced this analysis. Now we're telling the reader he's asking, what's in it for me? Well, I've produced this analysis for you. And it's an open loop because you're suggesting there's something for you. You're not telling him directly, but you're telling him that. You're suggesting that. All over our country, more and more people are giving up. They don't understand what's happening or why. And no one on either side of the political aisle will explain it. Probably because they don't fully understand it either. Most Americans only know that even though they work harder every year, they end up with less and less and more debt. But I know exactly how it's happening and why. Again, you're teasing the catalyst. He haven't tell again. He's teasing. He's not telling you, and he won't tell you in the lead at least. I know exactly how it's happening and why. I've spent parts of my life on both sides of this equation, and I want to make sure you are on the right side going forward. Again, we're telling the reader, what's in it for me? This. I'm gonna make sure you are on the right side going forward because it's about to get much, much worse. This imminent, urgent problem, right? This is the lead. We're gonna do that, and that's it for now. And what do we do first? We make a pattern interrupt with payoffs and expand upon the attention of interest, the attention of the object of interest. We expand on that. We tell why is it unique and urgent, and tease the catalyst, while also instilling the question in the reader, what's happening? Right? He has to ask. He has to be curious and intrigued on why, what's happening. Then he agitates on the implication of the object and catalyst, shows some demo proof, and make a final bribe where he tells again why it's unique, and there's a reason, you open loops, tease again, right? Establish credibility, and tell what's in it for the reader. Tease again, tease again, tease again until this is urgent, right? This is the structure. And I want to make this is an example I did for practicing that. I wrote this in July 24, and I can't believe this. Maybe I wrote my writing skills were better 2 months ago than now. Lol. I can't believe it. Oh well, I'm gonna show. You're gonna notice that it's pretty much using um, this structure. There's an example I wrote practicing. Dear reader, see this seemingly regular yet highly secure anonymous building? Here, in this place, the lights are going on instead of going off or out are going on. No, I don't mean the bulb lights or any other kind of electric system development. I'm talking about a vastly more important kind of light, the kind that comes from within. I'm talking about how exclusive American insiders in this building are shining in hope to the shocking law shift in our most basic economic relationship with a good old America's friend. Because this groundbreaking economic law shift that's happening right now has the realistic potential to make thousands of new millionaires. Independent, credible figure estimates this amount, while also destroying the financial future of many others. Starting in November 15th. Who are inside this building? What's this economic law shift? How can you avoid losing your money and potentially making X, Y, and Z with this once in a generation opportunity? I'm going to explain everything to you in just a moment, but first, I have to put this into perspective. And then you tell more unique and specific things about the catalyst to hype up, intrigue, and engage the reader. And maybe you tell you tell to why this is. How do I know this is real? You add. You then tell. Then you ask. You answer this. Blah blah blah. And that's it for now. That's all. And I don't know if someone really wants to watch how I read, but I'm gonna record it anyways, just to show anyone who's interested in how active reading, how to active read, copy, and wants to know how does it look like doing the work. Here it is. Now I'm gonna quiet and just read. I mean, I think this is the end of the lead. Yeah, yeah. This is a credibility section. This is a credibility section. The end of capitalism as we know it. My name is Porter Stanbury. I grew up in a three-bedroom middle-class home. This credibility section and gurus section. Wait. These are guru credibility section. We here establish cred and maybe build some reports. And this is the end of the guru section or credibility section, which is the first part of the body copy. Now look, I want to make it clear. I don't think any of this is fair. Yet It has been good for me, but I'm sad and terrified for what this massive new wealth trend is going to do to our country. Well, let's analyze the guru section. Something interesting is that the guru section, he tells about himself. He talks about himself uh, for a very short period of time, and then tied again to the reader. Then he tied again to the reader. But you always start with a narrative. A narrative. So I grew in a three-bedroom middle-class home outside Orlando, Florida. I wasn't given anything special. I went to public schools and I worked all my life as a lifeguard at Walt Disney World to help finance my college education, and then later as an elite investment analyst for one of the wealthiest men in the world, who now owns hundreds of thousands of acres of real estate in Central America, South America, the US, and Europe. This is like a narrative in a ABT format. What's ABT? I'm gonna explain it. Well, you should read 16 words sales letter by Evaldo Albuquerque. But yeah, I'm not gonna explain it. Just know for now that this is a narrative and storytelling is very engaging, right? So you can maybe start with that in mind. You tell a story. I first saw what was happening about 20 years ago, and I took a big chance. 20 years ago, I started my own company to capitalize on this huge new trend of wealth creation. I've created huge amounts of wealth for my family, our clients, and for many of my partners and employees, all by understanding exactly why the lights are going out all across America. Again, you're tying the catalyst and maybe the key insight. Like, there's something that you have to know. This is the key insight. And if you know this and how to take advantage of it, you're gonna be a millionaire, right? You're gonna make a lot of money. And here he's teasing that because he knows about this catalyst, this opportunity. Now he's made a lot of money. And he haven't tell you. I I I I still don't know what the lights are going out means. Here's an image of him, Borders Stanbury. I'm terrified of what this new trend is doing to our country. I can't fix it, but I can show how to prepare and prosper in the years to come. This is urgent as fuck. If your guru can't fix something, that's urgent. And you notice that you still don't know what's happening. He haven't tell you what this light and what this basic social agreement is for He haven't tell you. Oh, the only thing that you know is that Americans are losing hope in our most basic social agreement. He haven't tell you what this social agreement is. And when you think he's gonna tell you, he teases it. He teases it. For example, there's a reason it's happening, and you think here's gonna tell you it's because most Americans are being left behind. Now, he didn't tell you again. He just talks about how, whoa man, this is happening and it's really big and you're blah 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 blah. Okay, what is it? And he doesn't tell you. He just keep expanding on on that and telling you what's real, what's important, what's in it for you, and but he haven't tell you. And here again, you think that he's gonna tell you, right? Here you're thinking he's gonna tell you, but I know exactly how it's happening and why. And you think, okay, you know, right? You're gonna tell me, right? And with this with this sub headline, it looks like he's gonna explain to you, wow, the end of capitalism as we know it. And you think he's gonna tell you and explain what this social agreement means and why it's going to end capitalism as we know it. You notice he insinuates that he's gonna tell you the end of capitalism as we know it. And he doesn't tell you. He just tell you things and tell you about things and his track record and why he's credible, right? And maybe, and of course this is good, right? This is exactly what you should be doing. You first tease. There's something happening. There's some there's something happening. There's something happening. And then you expand. And what's happening? It's called a catalyst. For those who don't understand, the catalyst is something that's happening. It's a force of nature. It's something that happens that it's outside of. It's like an event. So you tell there's something happening. Then you expand on the catalyst and that. And then So there's something happening. It's this and this and this and it, blah 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 blah. Then you expand on that. And after you expand on the catalyst, you expand on the implication of the catalyst for the reader. For the reader, like this event that's happening, it's gonna cause this and this and this for you and your family and blah blah blah. Right? You expand on the implications in the on the implications of the catalyst for the reader. This what's happening is gonna make you broke, or this what's happening is gonna make you rich if you know how to take advantage of it, right? And after you expand on the catalyst and its implications for the reader, you tease. Tease that you're gonna explain it. Tease. You're gonna tease the catalyst, right? Like you're gonna suggest that you're gonna explain, but you don't tell them. You just instead of that, what you do is show demo proof and answer. Why? How do I know this? How do I know this is real? That's what you're gonna answer. And then maybe with the credibility guru section, so this is what's happening. There's something amazing happening. You then expand on that. Then you expand the implication of the catalyst for the reader. This will make you broke or make you a millionaire or will make you lose weight, etc. etc. And then you tease that you're gonna explain it, but you just tease the catalyst. You tease the mechanism and the catalyst. You're not telling him right off the bat. You're not revealing everything. You're just revealing some demo proof. So that um, you show the reader and answer the question, how do I know this is real? And then you start with the guru and credibility section. Why should I listen to you? That's what's happening here. If you maybe you should I should provide a link to download this, right? But if you look closely at this structure, that's what's happening. He haven't told you. That's for sure. So yeah, uh, I'm still gonna keep reading again. 20 years ago. That's engaging, right? Storytelling is engaging. I've created huge amounts of wealth for my family, for clients, and for many of my partners and employees, all by understanding exactly why the lights are going out all across America. Now, look, I want to make it clear. I don't think any of this is fair. Yes, it has been good for me, but I'm sad and terrified for what this massive new wealth trend is doing to our country. And I know it's going to continue to accelerate, to get more powerful, to become even more disruptive. So what do we do in the credibility section? We know we have to make some storytelling to keep the reader engaged, but what's happening here? I've created huge amounts of wealth for my family and for many of my partners and employees. So this is credibility. There's credibility. It's credibility. I've created huge amounts of wealth for my family, clients, and for many of my partners and employees. That's credibility right there. Huge amounts. That's big. That's big. And for many of my partners and employees, if you've done something many times, that implies that's safe and predictable. Many. Now look, I want to make it clear. I don't think any of this is fair. Yes, it's been good for me, but this massive new trend, wealth trend, is gonna blah blah. You see, while millions of Americans have been left behind so far, tens of millions more will be left behind in the coming decade if they don't take the critical steps now. Meanwhile, anyone who understands what lies at the root of these trends can have a chance to profit in a big way. It's not hard if you truly understand what's happening. I'm gonna explain it all right now, and I promise you've you've never read about this concept anywhere else before. Ooh, this is a bribe. We're bribing the reader. Yeah, and I promise you've never read about this concept anywhere else before. That's unique. Why is it unique? The good news is you don't have to become one of my customers to take advantage of it. All you have to do is get a handle of the concepts I'm about to outline. Well, he's addressing an objection there. And here I'm about to outline. That's a bribe again. We don't need socialism in America. We need a better understanding of how this new economy works so that more people can benefit. the United States can continue to be the greatest place for anyone to rise up and make their own way. Believe me, the more people who understand these trends, the better for all of us. And that includes you. Ooh, what's in it for me? No, it's not too late, but it is getting close. All these trends are beginning to converge into a new, even more powerful wave of innovation and disruption. So, we have many emotions here. This is urgency, um, this is new, more powerful, even more powerful. That's big. This new wave of change is already impacting huge companies and even the political system in America, but it's just beginning to gain traction. It's already happening. It's already that's urgent, or it implies it's happening right now. This is real. Oops. In another year or two, anyone who doesn't fully understand this new wave will be left behind. What's the writer trying to accomplish here? I don't understand. I don't really know what the writer's trying to accomplish here. Now, look, I want to make it clear. He's just telling that, uh, bro, I don't know what's he saying. I'm gonna pause the video and see if I come up with something. Yeah, I came up with something. Here it is. After you establish credibility, you then can expand even more on the implications of the catalyst, right? So, if you in the lead said, this can make you a lot of money, then you establish credibility. I am this and that person, I'm credible because of my track record and da da da. And then you expand on that. And instead of saying this will make you a lot of money, then you expand on that, you trigger BS and say, well, this will make you a billionaire in 3 days, right? Of course, you're gonna say something that's credible, but just to illustrate that, you first make your promise in the lead, then after you establish credibility, you can expand on that promise and make it bigger. You can expand on the opportunity, right? So Again, I'm gonna write it. If you want to, if you'd benefit from that, in the lead, you make your promise, right? Then you establish credibility later in the body copy. And then you expand on your promise. And I can show another example right now. But let's say you make a promise. You can make a lot of money. Then you credible, credit, right? You then you impact. You can right. Kind of looks like that. You establish cred, you make a promise, then you establish cred, and then you expand. You trigger BS. You expand even more on the implications of the catalyst. While millions of Americans have been left behind so far, tens of millions more will be left behind in the coming decade if they don't take the critical steps right now. Right? Is expanding upon that. If you don't act, you lose. Meanwhile, anyone who understands what lies at the root of these trends can have a chance to profit in a big way. It's not hard if you truly understand what's happening. If you act, win. If you don't act, you lose. If you act, you win. Then you bribe the reader. And then you tell what's in it for me, for you, for the reader. And then you add urgency. It's almost too late. And I want to show an example of something related to this structure because that's a pattern I've seen. This, when you make a promise, you start credibility and you expand on your promise. Yes. This structure, I've seen that many times. I'm gonna show another example. Just so you see. This is the example. Here, the sales letter talks about Jim Rutz and how he was known as the guy you called when you needed a control that could pull record-breaking response. He could, with a flick of his pen, generate millions in revenue, hundreds of thousands of new customers, and quite literally build businesses on the back of a single promotion. He commanded fees up to that amount per package, plus hundred thousands in more royalties too. And if you count for inflation, that means Jim was racking in a cool a million for writing a single sales letter. Right? Then he showed credibility and expand on the object opportunity and its implications for the reader. So he starts by saying Jim Rhodes was incredible. Who am I? I know that because I was I worked with him. And then after the credibility section, he make a claim and expand on the object until I can tell you for a fact there was no one like Jim Rhodes. and tell us about proof of why he was big and right. So you first say, "Oh, he was incredible. I knew him," and blah 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 blah. Then you establish credit, and then he was not only incredible, he was the best of the best, right? So this is another example of this structure. He was cool. In fact, he right. You see what where that's going? You first make a promise. He was incredible. This can make you lots of money. Then you start establish credibility. I'm credible for this and that. I've learned. I've worked with these people. I've produced many this and that, and I can tell you for a fact, this is bigger than anything else I've seen. He was he was incredible. Now he wasn't just incredible. He was the best, and there was no one like him. Or you can make a lot of money. In fact, as a matter of fact, you can not only make it a lot of money, you can become a billionaire in 2 days, right? I'm exaggerating, of course. You're not gonna tell that to the reader, but that's the structure. So yeah, I wanna cut the video, but mm, I suppose I'm gonna keep reading, right? Just as I said, what comes next will dwarf all of these changes. So this is not only a big wealth shift. This is the biggest. There's no one like it, right? And you do that after you establish credibility. Because when you have the credibility, now you can make bigger claims. That's why you establish credibility, and then you expand on that. Well, I don't want to keep reading and talking. You see, whoa, we're just in the first 4 pages. Well, bye. I'll keep reading by myself. I showed enough. Holy boy. 1 hour. 1 hour. Well, I'm gonna wait until it's 1 hour. Takata, takata, taka. Well, yeah, that's it. Now it's officially 1 hour. Bye.